What does this medicine mean to you?
I'm excited not to have to worry about COVID.
For some, it's led to a moment you will remember forever. The step to normal, to freedom that felt so distant for so long.
The vaccine's actually very good, even with the new variants.
But for others, there is a hesitancy when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine. This week, we examine that concern, the changing demand.
Not just solve a problem once.
And the fight to put confidence in what's seen as the key to ending this pandemic.
Protect us from future problems like that.
This is The Race. Welcome to The Race, I'm Chris Stewart. The vaccine rollout looks different depending on where you live. In some states, it has been difficult to get an appointment, but in others, like here in Alabama, it's been a different story. The issue here isn't necessarily about access, it's a question of demand. If there's been a passenger with us on the long road through this pandemic, it's been uncertainty. But when we feel lost, finding a place that's familiar can help us move forward.
I think people in most communities look at their local community pharmacy and they say, you know, this is somebody I can trust.
In Adamsville, Alabama,
all right, I'll get it on this profile.
A lot of people listen to what Johnny Brooklier has to say.
Somebody I can ask a question to, and I know I'm going to get a straight answer. It may not be the answer I want, but it's going to be straight, honest, and this is what it is.
In this state, his pharmacy was one of the first to offer the COVID-19 vaccine.
The demand initially was crazy. Our phones never stopped. We couldn't answer the phone fast enough.
He says at one point they were giving out as many as 200 doses a day, but now it's just a quarter of that.
The demand's gone from night and day to now it's just a trickle.
Nationally, close to 60% of adults have received at least one shot of the COVID-19 vaccine. But in each part of America, the story is different. At least half of adults in several states have received at least one dose. That's not the case here. Alabama has one of the lowest vaccination rates in the country.
As far as Alabama, at this point, it's just that misinformation of safety, efficacy, side effects.
But vaccine hesitancy and demand aren't just problems in the South. Since April, even though the number of Americans eligible to receive the vaccine has become larger, nationwide, the number of doses administered each day has dropped off.
And then there's a few that goes, I'm not sure.
Regina Cowart has heard the hesitancy holding some people back.
I have some kinfolks that's not sure about it.
But she is confident in this medicine's promise of protection.
Who wants to die? I don't.
She and her son are getting their first doses of the Moderna vaccine.
That is the most painless shot I've ever had.
We just have to face this today. This is what we are dealing with. People are dying. People are continuing to get sick. There's variants that we don't know what will happen. So it's better to protect yourself if you can.
It's unclear how long it will take to get to our destination beyond the pandemic. And while some may feel uncertain about the direction this vaccine will take us,
we think this vaccine is safe. The information that we've seen, the side effects we know. So we just give them the information, we encourage them, but obviously we're making sure they understand it's their decision and what they do.
Johnny says it's important to keep faith in what you trust, like a pharmacy you know, to get you to the right place.
We stay out of the politics. We want the truth. And that's all we're going to give you. You make your decision, and we'll give you the information that we have that we know is clinically sound.
A big part of the vaccine discussion is herd immunity. That's when enough people are vaccinated against a disease that its spread is highly unlikely. Alexa Liacko is in a community that is tracking herd immunity in a unique way.
As soon as the sun is up, Brian Savato is out on a mission.
Took the cover.
He's collecting human wastewater. Yeah, you heard that right. These sewage samples will help track herd immunity in his community. You're probably thinking, what? And wondering how? Well, researchers at the University of Louisville are testing both wastewater and people. It's called the Co-Immunity Project. Pieces of the COVID-19 virus come out when you use the bathroom, so researchers can track where the virus exists in communities by sampling wastewater from different neighborhoods. Then they'll take a blood sample and nasal swab from community members across the city. That can show who's vaccinated and who isn't. Together, researchers can see which neighborhoods are vaccinated and which have infections. They put those together to calculate herd immunity.
We're trying to get to a place where enough people are vaccinated where there'll be no place for the virus to go. And so we call that herd immunity. And the only way we'll know when we're there is when the virus essentially disappears.
Do you think herd immunity is possible?
I personally think it is possible, and I think that we're capable of getting there.
Ted Smith and Aruni Bhatnagar are the researchers behind the effort. They're doing all of this
so that we can then tailor a better public health response.
They're hoping the data will show where in the city people aren't getting shots.
Areas which we call vaccine deserts.
Then they can work with local leaders to get those communities better access and education around vaccines.
Health is not an individual entity, but a community activity. And if our community is unhealthy, we cannot be healthy.
They hope their data will help with more than just finding the communities where people are hesitant to get vaccinated. They hope documenting immunity levels will enable life getting back to normal.
That makes more sense. It's been a constant challenge.
Chad Cooley owns Mama's Barbecue and says the closer Louisville gets to herd immunity, the sooner more people can get back to enjoying moments like these.
Smart people are getting vaccinated, and some others are still waiting to join us. But hopefully we'll get there. Hopefully we'll get there soon, because we have the shots. They're available. People just need to go get them.
We're trying to help our community by using good science.
Because information, even from a stinky source, can bring the sweet reward of togetherness we're all craving.
Now we are at the end game. If anybody gets left out, we're not going to win this game.
For The Race, I'm Alexa Liacko.
Overall, many leaders are happy with the vaccine rollout nationwide. But doses aren't reaching people equally. We look at the barriers the Latinx community is facing in trying to get vaccinated and the progress on getting vaccines approved for kids. You're watching The Race.